Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. Welcome to Stock Trading Pro and today's stock market live stream. Have a lot to discuss today. As it says in the headline, we're going to break down Tesla stock today. We're going to do a full Tesla stock analysis using order flow in multiple time frames. And what's going to be really exciting about this is we're going to review what we discussed in NEO stock last week. And a lot of people took what I said about looking to buy NEO stock as a sign to just get in there and start buying NEO stock. And that's not what real trading is about. Real trading is about building scenarios. And then if those scenarios unfold, only then do you take action. And honestly, we spend a lot of time here on the live stream talking about if this happens, then I plan to do this. But I think what's more exciting is we're actually going to do the same thing, not only in Tesla stock today, we're going to do a full-on Tesla stock analysis using the charts, going through order flow, hitting it from different angles. But the big thing I think is we're going to make a bullish case for the market, the S&P 500, the SPY ETF, and the one price level that I'm going to be watching this week that could possibly change everything. So we're going to do a deep dive into a game plan for the week. We're going to take a sneak peek into the list of stocks that are in play, for lack of a better way of putting it, both showing order flow from the month, the week, and the day. And then we're going to break down a bigger list of electric vehicle stocks. So we're going to get into NEO. We're going to get into XPEV. We're going to talk about LI stock. And you know what's super interesting is everybody talks about Tesla stock. Everybody loves Elon Musk, but everybody forgets about Ford and General Motors. I guess you should, because the market has changed dramatically in a way that Elon Musk and Tesla is kind of like the poster child, and they have such a competitive advantage at this particular stage. But when we dive into our electric vehicle stock analysis right now, we're actually going to include Ford and General Motors and just see what the price action needs to be in order for us to get involved. All right. So what we're going to do is stick around, be back in just 1 second. We're going to answer the question, is Tesla stock a buy right now? And at what level would that make sense? So we'll be right back. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me here today, everybody. Obviously, everything that we discuss here is for educational purposes. It's my mission to help you make better decisions. It's my mission to help you think things through deeper to be a better trader so that you're prepared for everything. If this is your first time here on the channel, please do me a favor. If you want updates, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If I provide some value for you here today, also make sure by the end of the video, you smash that like button. One thing I do want to point out is we did a trading view tutorial last week on the chart setups that we use here. It's actually one of the most affordable charting platforms that you can find. Very, very affordable, very, very clean charts. If you are trying to figure out how to set up your charts, I'll post a link for that as well after this video. I'll do it down in the description. Something else I want to point out, if you haven't been to one of our exclusive trainings before, we haven't done a webinar in a long time, a new webinar, and we're actually hosting one tomorrow night, Wednesday, March 16th. So if you'd like to attend that webinar, you can click. I think there's this in the description and posted below this video. You can see a link if you want to register for that. So let's hop on right over into the market. We're going to start out with Tesla. We're going to hit it from different angles. Then we're going to go into the market, and then we're going to go back to the other electric vehicle stocks. So the question on the table right now is, Tesla was over $1,200 not too long ago. The question is Tesla stock now a value play that the stock has fallen back almost $500? We'll take a look at that right now. We're going to do order flow analysis on Tesla stock, first using what we see us do here every day, which is get into the trend lines, get into whether or not it's in a box, get into the weekly order flow. Then we're going to hit it from a different angle with moving averages in multiple time frames. So it's going to be pretty cool to do this Tesla stock analysis. So let's break it down, and we're going to jump right in. Oh, by the way, how many of you are, if you could just do me a favor, type in the chat, how many people would consider them, when you're talking about Tesla stock, would you consider yourself a trader of Tesla stock, or would you consider yourself an investor of Tesla stock? It'd be pretty cool to let me know, because that'll also influence the type of conversation. We actually had somebody ask yesterday, which I think is a pretty good question. They asked about the how often do we go over how to value a stock? A little bit deeper conversation, and that would be something that we would do inside of our Discord community and our Mastery Collective coaching calls. But it's a really good question. So today we're going to get in. We're also going to talk about Rivian, R-I-V-N, which kind of really hit the skids over the last week or so. So let's see. Just want to get an idea what everybody's doing in here. George is an investor in Tesla stock. LJ, good morning. So always good to see you, pal. Let's see. Don is a trader of Tesla stock. Simon doing both, trader and scalping. A lot of people, I know Jerry Sarmiento in our community is more of a, this is a funny one. Orgel is a driver of Tesla stock. I like that one. Raphael, a trader. Hey, Raphael, nice to see you this morning. Let's see. Carrie is an investor. Actually, next question. How long have you owned Tesla stock? That would be kind of cool to know as well. Carrie, welcome to the community. I think first time I think I'm seeing you here. Juan Garcia, good morning, Juan. How's it going? Investor. Let's see. Tesla is a hype stock, in my opinion. Fair value below $500. Sold just watching it go. All right. So good take on that. Thank you for the insight. I appreciate that. Charles, Tesla, trader in Tesla, if I ever invested in it. Robin Johnson, good morning. 3 years, isn't it? I'm going to assume that's an investor, right? Good morning, Robin. Let's see. George, since 2020. Wow. Louis, good morning. Good morning. How are you? Some people have had it for a while, 3 years. So if you have it for 3 years, you got a pretty good price. So here's the question I want to put out there. Now, obviously, we're gonna get into the stock here. We're gonna break it down. We're gonna go over different multiples. No longer a good investment. In other words, you bought it, you still love it. Are you willing to let the stock? Let's say you bought it 3 years ago. Let's actually do that. So let's go all the way over here. Let's say you bought it 3 years ago, and well, actually 3 years ago, a pretty darn good price. You're talking about down in the 50s. So that would be a pretty big decline if it was actually pulling back to 2019 prices and again, splits and all that kind of stuff. So let's see. Simon saying that Tesla is way overvalued. Okay, that's one way to put it. Look, I know a lot of people that can't stand Tesla stock. They think it's been overvalued. But look, from a business perspective, Tesla has such a first mover advantage. It's not even funny. And you have to keep that in mind. We talk about a lot of the books that are on the shelf back there. Some of the main books that I have back there are on analyzing businesses and having a competitive advantage. Probably the biggest one is Michael Porter from Harvard, who kind of wrote the book on competitive advantage. And one of the biggest things is, does the company have first mover advantage and are everybody else catching up? And in this case, that's absolutely the truth, no matter what you think of Tesla stock or Elon Musk. Okay, so we're going to break it down. We're going to actually start on the daily chart, and we want to do what we typically do, and we just want to make sure that we work the chart just a little bit and get into what we believe is how we draw the price action. So if you've been a regular viewer of the channel, you know that when I do my game planning in the morning, the very first thing that I do is I don't use any moving averages. I don't have anything influenced, and I want to get into the charts and determine, is it obvious? Are buyers or sellers obviously in control of this stock? Obviously, in this case, Tesla stock. And is it obvious? And where can I piggyback what they're doing? Or is the stock at the right price where we call it's kind of stuck in a box and there's really nothing to do, because we want to see somebody step up and do something significant so that we can actually take advantage of that. We call that tracking and piggybacking the smart money. So let's see. Kevin saying bought it the first time in 2015 when it's high, set my stop buy back when it falls. Okay, so you traded it back and forth. Sean saying since 2017. Okay, so some pretty good prices in here. Okay, so let's work our way back over to the charts. So the way that we do things, we actually make sure, and actually, you know what, this is probably a better way to do it over here. When we have an obvious order flow, which we kind of had over here for a while from the pandemic into mid-2021, we kind of been a mess. And really the biggest way that we can determine that, one of the biggest things that we want to see is, one of the questions we get all the time is, how do I know when the temperature of a stock has changed? When do we know that the obvious order flow or the easier opportunities to identify have changed? And this is something you want to write down. Every day, I really encourage you to keep a trading journal and a tracking journal and a game plan. There's three different things. Trading journal is all your thoughts about what you did. It's the trading journal, the way that we do it, the way that I teach, is it's the greatest trading book you will ever read, because it's going to be your experience amplified and your custom experience and how to advance your trading career. The tracking journal are ideas that meet certain criteria, but not necessarily a trade yet. So for example, if a stock goes into a box, but also for a tracking journal is looking at the weekly chart, determining whether it's obvious and if it's not obvious anymore. Now, I know that sounds obvious, right? However, the probably one of the most challenging things that traders have, and raise your hand if you kind of feel like the stock market is overwhelming right now. I think a lot of people that are coming into our community, there's the single biggest thing is I don't understand what I'm looking at. And that has to be the number one place that you start. And I'm tying this back into Tesla stock. So if you know what you're looking at, you're no longer lost. Nothing is overwhelming anymore because you're only looking for that. Now, here's the thing. Tesla had really obvious bullish order flow for about 7 or 8 weeks when it broke out of almost 700 to right up to 1,200. So I'm going to take a look at that. But that's the perfect price action. You hear me talking about it all the time. It's going well bid, and it's going well bid, which means higher highs and higher lows from one day to the next, 1 week to the next. But as long as that's in play, you're good. You're golden. You can look for opportunities, and you don't have to make any other decisions, especially if it's a little bit longer term play. But here's the problem. Here's where a lot of people got caught coming into 2022 without a plan in place for what if the tape changed? What if the order flow changes? So in other words, what does it look like when it's perfect? If you know that, then you know what it looks like when it changes. In Tesla, the tape changed on the weekly chart. So that's really the whole thing I want to get across to you. Write down, what does it look like on the weekly chart? And is it still obvious? So that's what we're going to talk about right now on the Tesla chart. So you can see here, once it broke out, the weekly chart remained well bid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks in a row, it went well bid. So that's what you want to write down. Well bid is doing what we wanted to do if we were a buyer of that stock, in this case, Tesla stock. But now this is the interesting thing. As we move over, you can see that the well bid, higher highs, higher lows, and closing near the highs changes. So let's use Billy as an example. Billy, welcome to the community. I think it might be the first time I've seen you here today. All right. So if you know what perfect looks like, you also, again, in your tracking journal, in your game plan, you need to know, okay, if perfect is there, I know what I'm doing. We all know that, right? We all do the happy dance and we're making money. But what do I plan to do if it becomes less than perfect? What do I plan to do if that changes? So there's actually what to buy, when to buy, and how to sell at the right time. And by the way, that stuff, those are the 3 main topics we're going to talk about in tomorrow night's webinar. So if you haven't registered, there should be a link below this video or in the chat here. So make sure you get on the event. So here's what I want to talk about right here. So the tape changed right here. At no point over this period of time did we look like this anymore. At no point were we well bid, higher highs, higher lows, and closing near the highs. We actually went green here, but it was actually well offered where we had lower highs and lower lows. Very, very different tape. So here's what I want you to write down out of all of this before we get into a little bit more of a deep dive on Tesla stock. You need to know what perfect looks like. And that is the top question. It is the top priority when you choose to buy stock. Obviously, right now we're talking about Tesla stock, and I think that was a pretty cool example. If you know what perfect looks like, if you know what it looks like exactly in order for you to be buying that stock and, just as importantly, holding that stock, you will know exactly what to do all of the time. The only other challenge that you're going to have is understanding how to stack the order flow and stack those odds in your favor so that there's a greater chance of your profit target being hit versus your stop loss. And that's actually a big part of what we're going to teach on tomorrow night's webinar. So make sure you register for that. So if we zoom that over to Tesla, you can see this period of buying versus this period of buying. This is really where it gets, and I hope this changes everything for you. We just pointed out perfect. Now we're going to go out to the next 14 weeks where Tesla hasn't been obvious in a way that we liked, which is well bid, green, higher highs, higher lows, and closing near the high. So I hope that I'm showing you, like in a heartbeat, you can now start to look at stocks, excuse me, and at least understand what you're looking at. Making money and understanding what you're looking at, that's 2 separate skills, but it's a place to start, okay? So working our way through here, you can see that we don't have any of this in any place over here. This went as a bullish engulfing candlestick, but immediately traded into a bearish U-turn, traded into another bearish U-turn. This went green into a bullish U-turn on the weekly chart, but is also well offered. Well offered, green, but inside, bearish engulfing candlestick, well offered, bottoming tail, topping tail, selling and selling. So over that entire period of Tesla, there hasn't been a perfect opportunity on the weekly chart, which is the main time frame that we determine whether or not we want to be a buyer of that stock. And again, in this case, we're using Tesla stock as an example. There was one moment where we broke to the upside and we could have considered buying Tesla stock. But what I want to walk you through now is how we determine if it's a potential change of trend versus a change of trend. And then we're going to bring that all the way back to the current price levels and what we need to watch before I'm looking to buy Tesla stock on the way back up. Okay. So if we go back out to the daily chart and we work the daily chart, this moment right here, you can clearly see that we have bearish order flow. And again, if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you know one of the biggest things that we do, we talk about the push and the pause. The push is where we make money. The pause is where we manage risk and look for new entries. That's where we look for the optimal entry. Okay. So we had a push down and a pause, a push down and a pause, a push down and a pause, a push down. And then we broke the trend here. So once you break the trend, there's two different lines that you draw, and you want to draw the box. Okay. You want to draw the box and pay attention to if that's the right price, when does it change? So right there, we broke this downtrend. So we have the previous low and we have where it broke. So only one of two things can happen at this point. It starts this way, it gets above this level, which in this case here would have been 945. And that breaks this downtrend, validates a new move to the upside. And then we kind of bring in, as we've been showing everybody, the super simple Fibonacci level of where we would determine a profit target in the other direction. But that did not happen. We stayed in this box. And again, once you learn how to draw these boxes, you say to yourself, that's the right price. If somebody with big demand or saw value in Tesla stock, they'd be paying higher prices and not getting it out of the box to the upside. If somebody had a lot of supply and wanted to dump Tesla stock, they would have enough selling pressure to push the stock out of the box and break the right price, and we'd see another move to the downside. So this is what's kind of cool about it. There's no reason to guess. Once you know what you're looking for, you're no longer lost. That's where trading becomes fun. That's where trading becomes exciting. But more important, the feeling that you want to have as a trader is control. Everybody on this call right now, live or the video, you want control over the outcome. It should not matter what the stock market does. What matters is what you are looking for specifically. And that's what makes the difference between somebody who's struggling from somebody who's going to the bank every day. That's what separates the two. And I hope that we're at least elevating your thinking and giving you some new ideas. And the more we work together, whether it's here or in our private community, that makes a big difference. Okay. So if we hop on over, you can see that sellers came in and pushed it down again. Now we know that this was the Russian invasion and we spiked back up. A lot of stocks broke back up. But now what we need to do is once we break this level, this is now no longer valid because we've established a new level. So once we do that, now we have to draw again, and we see that's where it broke this longer term downtrend. So we're talking about a down move basically from January. So right there, we broke the box. So now we're sitting in a new box. We go down to the low here, and that's the new box. So very similar to what we just discussed. Now it's stuck in a box. That's the right price. But here's the thing. Here's where you have to put yourself into the trade a little bit more and say, okay, that's all the way down there, but is that really the right price of where the box is? Is that really the right price? Or was that simply an overreaction to, I shouldn't say overreaction. Our prayers go out to everybody in the Ukraine right now. An overreaction overnight based on the news that quickly came back. So here's what I want to show you how I would draw at this box because it's a little bit of a tighter window to watch the price action. So what we'd be talking about is basically here. So right now we are sitting on this box right here, and the low of this box right now is around 757. So what does that mean? What does that mean for Tesla stock? So that's one way of looking at it, right? 757 up to 888. That's a pretty big window, but it is Tesla. It can travel $100 in 2 days and get out of the box to the upside. So what does that mean for me right now, just hitting Tesla from these various angles? It means that if it breaks below this box, and I even move the box up to factor in the big gap down when the Russia-Ukraine invasion started, this is the window I'm looking for. So as of right now, for me, that's one criteria that I have. So remember, we want to talk about hitting it from different angles. This is really where you probably heard me talk about this before, which is stacking your argument, building the argument for great ideas. You want minimum criteria to determine, okay, maybe it's okay for me to put on my first piece. So let's say you're a trader in Tesla. You've seen the stock now pull back from 1225 to where it's sitting now at about 750, roughly $500, $475 at this point. And you think that there's some value from where it is now, from where it turns around. So what would you need to happen? What would you need to see? So I'm going to walk you through that right now. But first, I'm going to do it in the SPY ETF, and then we're going to come back over to Tesla stock to use the same exact thing. There's one price in the SPY ETF that I'm looking at right now that matters, because if this price gets reached and the SPY weekly chart goes well bid. So remember what I just talked to you about before. The weekly chart is where the tape changes. Now, we all know that we have the FOMC coming out this week, tomorrow, 2 o'clock, right? We're all talking about, as we did yesterday, are the financial stocks, all the selling pressure that they've had, is that baked into the Fed announcing? The big question is it going to be 25 basis points, 50 basis points, all of that into the price action, right? Sounds like a lot. We had a coaching call last night, all these macroeconomic factors and everything. Oh my gosh, it's confusing. No, it's not. Your job as a trader is to only look for what matters to you and then make confident trading decisions. If you see it, you take action. If you don't see it, you just sit back and have another cup of coffee. So what does that have to do with the SPY? I'm going to show you in the SPY what I talked about in Tesla, and then we're going to come back with Tesla to continue to map out more arguments for if Tesla stock is a buy and when I would choose to be trading Tesla stock. Now, what's exciting about this, and again, you probably see me do this every day, we pull out the notebook. This might be new to you, okay? Every single thing that I do and every single thing I do in the community, the very first thing we talk about is knowing what you're looking for. And if to know what you're looking for means you're looking only for your edge. But here's where what we do, and hopefully what you're learning from me now is different, is you script everything. If this happens, then I plan to do this. That's real trading. That is trading at the highest levels. Where traders get in trouble, where really smart people get in trouble, is they don't plan anything out. They react emotionally and, oh, it goes up, it goes down. They find themselves buying the high, selling the low, getting involved at the wrong time. Nothing is planned out. The way that we do it in the community, and again, I want to give you insights into the highest levels of trading. If and when the market is super obvious, we get involved and we aggressively get involved because what we're looking for, we see. If what we're looking for is not there, and I'm talking about day trading and swing trading, if it's there, we're good. We take trades and we accept the outcome and we're in control of the process. If what we're looking for is not there, you know what we do in our community? We talk about sports. We post pictures of cats. Like, we are not here to get paid by the hour. We're not here to swing trade by the day, by the moment. We are here to get paid by the end of the month. Our job, number one, is to preserve precious capital. When something's there, we take trades. If it's not there, we are perfectly okay with preserving our capital until we have the odds stacked in our favor. So now we're going to walk over to what that looks like in the SPY. So the SPY ETF, if you have been following what we're talking about today, this is the last time the SPY ETF went well bid and candles were green. You can see it gave it up right away, right? So that's what we're looking for right now. Here's what I want you to visualize. I'm going to show you this on the chart. 420.89. Write that down. 420.89 is the price for me right now that matters in the SPY ETF. And I'm going to tell you why. The possibility of the week turning green in the face of the FOMC announcement. So again, is all of that bearish price action factored in? And the possibility of the weekly chart going well bid will also break the bearish selling in the SPY ETF and the S&P 500 over the last, since January, really the last week of December. So what should excite the heck out of you right now is the fact that we are mapping out the next week of trading before it happens. That's, again, I say trading becomes fun. Everybody's like, you're crazy. Trading's not fun. I'm stressed out of my mind. Trading is fun when you control the outcome. Trading is only frustrating when you don't know what you need to see and then only take action when you see it. So now we're going to map that out in the SPY, and we're going to bring that back over to Tesla. Okay. And again, John's typing about the war. We're talking about a trading lesson here. So please keep what I'm talking about in context. I understand what you're talking about, John. This is all about mapping out what to look for and putting you in control and how I plan to trade the market this week. Okay. We all know the war's out there. We're not talking about the escalation or anything like that. This is just how do we map the order flow and how do we script out what we plan to do. So you can see here the level of the SPY. We're not well offered anymore. This is actually what's called an inside week. So yesterday when the SPY opened, this is the opening price in the S&P 500 yesterday. So that is now my line in the sand. That is the price that matters to me. I want to know heading into this week, has all of the selling that we've seen since the end of December into 2022, with the specter of interest rates coming into the equation and inflation rising, what would make me consider that having reversed? Now, if the market reverses, that will give me more conviction to be buying individual stocks. The first stocks I'd be looking to buy were stocks that have bullish order flow. So I want to give you a heads up. Take a screenshot of this. I'm going to put it on this chart really quick. Okay. So when we go over the list of stocks, sometimes the list of stocks is gigantic. Obviously today, coming into today, it wasn't with the way the market traded yesterday. But this list of stocks are stocks that meet criteria from the month, the week, and the last 2 weeks. So the map now I'm looking for is if the SPY gets above that 420.89 level, 421 maybe, let's just keep it simple. If that goes green, now we have validation that this week did not make new lows. So the SPY weekly chart held the bid. Sellers got a little bit tired. Maybe they've done all the selling, and we went positive for the week. So if the week turns green and the S&P 500, the SPY ETF gets above 421 and stays there, and if the weekly chart goes well bid and green, which is a higher high and a higher low, that means we have a short-term reversal to the upside. So I want to walk you through. You need to see this before it happens so that when it happens, you're like, oh, I'm ready for that. That's what easy trading is about. And that's, again, losing money stinks. I don't want to ever make light of losing money. It does stink. However, losing money is a part of what we do. Losing trades are a part of what we do. It's not the losses that are probably hurting your trading account. Assuming you get out of your losses where you're supposed to, it's your winning trades that are holding you back, not your losing trades. Okay, I can't stress that enough. And again, if you haven't subscribed, we're going to post a link below this video to join us for tomorrow's webinar. We're going to talk about all this in a lot of detail. So let's go back over to the SPY and then bring it back over to Tesla. So that's the line in the sand that I'm looking for. So what we're looking for at the very minimum on the daily chart, as we pointed out last week, we're looking for this. We want to see the daily chart go well bid from yesterday's price action, which means that we are looking for a higher high and a higher low. So we're essentially looking for a candle like this over here. That's step one. So think about it. We're talking about mapping out the entire week and that list of stocks that I just gave you. If that happens in the market and we catch a bid, and I'll go even a little bit deeper, and the volatility index starts to trend down, the VIX, the volatility index starts to trend down, that would be fear coming out of the market. So if we get confirmation from the volatility index going down and the market, the SPY ETF goes well bid, higher high, higher low, stays above 420.89, it's not more simple than that. Just write down right now, 421 is a significant level. That's the level. And if it goes well bid, now we're stacking the argument. We're like, okay, that's step one. That's cool. That's a turnaround. Now what I want to see is, does it close above yesterday? Cool. Great. Still in a bearish order flow, still pointing to the downside. But here's what we're looking for. Remember the map that we just drew in Tesla. We're going to do the same exact thing here now in the SPY. So that's the picture in the SPY right now. We are still in bearish order flow. But if we do this and do this, all of a sudden in the SPY, we are now going to be outside of that box, which now breaks the downtrend, and we start a new move to the upside. I can't draw my box here. So then what are we looking for next? Well, the weekly chart now, we're looking for the weekly chart to go well bid. So let me get that off of there. We are looking for the weekly chart to do this. So if you can visualize this down move being broken, because this turned green, and this is what we got this week, which you can kind of see, that's actually a pretty good example of it, then we're going to break this downtrend. If we break this downtrend and Tesla does the same exact thing, so what's the price in Tesla? Well, if you go to yesterday's candle, we're talking about yesterday was 780.61. So you want to write that down in Tesla, 780.61, or just simplify it and make it 781, excuse me. So now we have the price in Tesla, we have the price in the S&P 500. If both of those events unfold, that means we have a short-term reversal. Then we stack it even further. That's just not crossing that price. We want to stack it. Give me more proof. Give me more validation. I want to see somebody with deep pockets step up and hold it up there for more than just an hour, more than just one day. So now we go to tomorrow. We got what we look for in the SPY. We got what we look for in Tesla. Can we go well bid tomorrow? So we're talking about Tuesday's price action and what we're looking for on Wednesday. We just mapped out the next 2 days before it happens. That's what it means to be in control of the price action and control of what you're looking for. That's a very big difference between it's going up, it's going down, it's going up, it's going down. I saw it on Reddit. I saw it on the news. I saw it somewhere on Twitter. This is the difference between loving trading because you're making money because you know what you're looking for and know what you plan to do versus you're getting beat up every day while it's going down. If bullish stocks are going up, we're looking for a spot to buy them. If we're still going down, we're now mapping out what it would need to look like in order for us to be a buyer of Tesla. So that's the game plan that I have for Tesla this week. We're going to work our way over into some of the other electric vehicle stocks that we mentioned yesterday. I just want to revisit what we talked about in NIO last week. We were very clear in NIO last week, and you can actually see the lines are still on the chart. Exactly what we just discussed in Tesla from a little bit of a different angle. And we're going to go into the moving averages in Tesla in just 1 second. We literally said that we needed to see NIO with all of that explosion in volume to go well bid. If NIO went well bid, as we just explained, we would consider building or starting a new position in the other direction, which would be a very small piece, an initial trade. Remember, the language we use, first sign of a reversal, first piece of a bigger order. So remember, if you're spotting a reversal and you think a stock is going back in the other direction, the smart way to trade is that it has to be the first piece of a move back in the other direction. So NIO stock did not do that. So there's no buying opportunity down here because this is not what happened. This is what we were looking for. This is what happened. So there's no trade there yet. Remember what I said before. Trading is fun when you know what you plan to do. If we talk about this stock and you say it's too low, I need to buy it because it's too low, and you violate your own rules, that's where you start to get frustrated. If you wait for exactly what looks good, because price action's validating what we need to see, trading becomes a lot easier because you're no longer confused. You're no longer overwhelmed. Are there going to be some trades that don't follow through and we don't make money on them? Sure, but that's a part of the edge. An edge literally means most of the time it should follow through. What also means is sometimes it's not. As long as you kick out the losers when it doesn't follow through and learn how to make more on the winners, which in our case is that's stacking the order flow, that's building the argument for the trade, that's where trading becomes one of the most fun businesses you could possibly run because you know what to do no matter what. That's what makes a difference. So if we break down the electric vehicle stocks like we talked about before, a lot of them still have pretty bearish order flow. So NIO, and actually, you know what? I'm going to bring in the volume here as well. NIO, as we've been talking about, a huge expansion in volume. It's got the delisting, a possibility of delisting. It's got the dual listing. So we got NIO, LI, which got clobbered yesterday. Again, look at that volume, just absolutely incredible. XPEV as well. These Chinese electric vehicle stocks are getting hit hard with a lot of volume. Then we work our way over into the Tesla of the world, the Rivian of the world. I want to give everybody a list of stocks. You can see that they're all clearly, if we work these charts, clearly still in bearish order flow. There's been a couple of times where they broke the trend, but you can see they broke right back down to the downside again. And I think this one here in Rivian is probably one of the best examples of what we're talking about, and probably one that you want to print a chart out of which is right here. So you can see where Rivian broke this long-term trend since the IPO, right? Here's the IPO, pushed down, kept breaking down. Then we went into this longer-term box. And now you're actually like, wow, this is interesting. Has Rivian bottomed out in looking for us to start seeing going in the other direction? John speaks about it a lot for us, is that you know that if you understand the 4 phases of price action, accumulation, distribution, and markup or markdown, when a stock has a big move to the downside and goes sideways, you want to pay attention to whether or not volume increases. And we talked about this yesterday. Heavy volume pauses typically lead to a change of trend. So Rivian, when it went into this long box, there was, again, only 1 or 2 things. We talked to you about that today. It can break to the upside and become something new. And that would be your first position. In this case, it broke to the downside again. So nothing to do here yet because it pushed to the downside. So I want to, when I talk about you want to print this chart out, this is a chart you want to print out because it's a perfect illustration of bearish order flow, break the trend, went into the box, and there's still nothing to do because we're not seeing signs of life. Nobody's buying Rivian stock yet. Nobody with deep pockets is choosing to pay higher prices yet. So print this chart out. This is a big one. Make sure you take a chart of that. So you can see it went in the box. Volume did not increase like it did over here on the way up in the IPO, and it punched back down. So now technically, because we broke down again, we actually have to redraw this and put it all the way out there again, because that's actually where it started again. So this kind of is now off the table. This is now kind of off the table, and we're waiting for this to break back to the upside. Oh yeah, actually that's a good point. Where's Lucid as well? Thank you for that. So Lucid is one of the other ones as well, which also broke down. So again, you can see how hard we work in the charts here. If we do the same exact thing in Lucid, and this is kind of fun, right? You start to work the charts. You can see that we broke the trend here. We actually went into a box. We didn't break down. We actually broke up and then came right back in. So when you came back in, you now have a new trend, but that's kind of far out, right? So we wouldn't be using that one. We'd actually be using the most recent price action. Lucid actually hit the bottom, and now we draw it in a new box. And what are we looking for? Where we broke the downtrend and where we started prior to breaking that box. And you can see, again, very similar. We did not break the box to the upside. We broke the box to the downside. And now we're actually drawing a new box in Rivian and has to break above there as well. So what I'm hoping I'm inspiring you to do is, number one, is to realize that the outcomes you get in trading are 100% up to you if you know what to look for. Trading is only frustrating or overwhelming if you're looking at everything. When you know what you're looking for, you're not lost anymore. Number two is understanding how to stack the odds in your favor with order flow. We just talked about that in a little tiny piece of that today. If you want to learn more about this, I'm going to teach this in a lot more detail tomorrow night in the webinar. So make sure you click below and sign up for the webinar. It's March 16th, 2022, tomorrow night. The third thing is understanding the right position size if you see a reversal. And we just mapped out various ways of spotting a reversal. But I think probably the biggest thing that I'd really love for you to take away from this right now is we just talked about a whole bunch of scenarios in Tesla. We said the price to look for Tesla to reverse. We talked about a bunch of scenarios, actually not even a bunch. One, the SPY getting back above that level, right? That's if you really want to make trading back in your control and make it so less stressful, just pay attention to those prices. That's the only thing that matters. Because if we keep going down, it's not doing what we want it to do. So if it's not doing what we want it to do, we're like, okay, honey, pour me another cup of coffee. Let's go have chocolate chip cookies. Or we look for the other stocks that might meet the criteria right now. If it does exactly what it's supposed to do, that's when you have to sit up in your seat, place your orders, and say, okay, now I'm cooking with gas. It's doing exactly what I want. Now I have to make what I should because I planned out this trade. That's what real trading is about. Finding price action that matches your edge and then managing the trade after you put it on. Trading is really that simple. The problem is a lot of people want to make it more complicated than it needs to be. Are buyers doing something obvious? If the answer is yes, we'll hop on board, we'll piggyback. Tracking them is really where the skill is. And then the second part is if we get in, how do we manage the winning trades so we make more on the winning trades? It's not the losing trades. I'm telling you, If you are controlling the downside and kicking out the trades that don't work, it's the winning part of the trade that you need to work on, and that's a little bit more of a skill, okay? I have to head out, everybody. I got to get ready for our other game plan. Please do me a favor. If you're new to the channel and you find this kind of stuff valuable, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get updates. Smash the like button if we provided some good stuff for you here today. And don't forget to subscribe to register for tomorrow's webinar. The link will be below this video. Have a great day, everybody. Go make some money.